All right, everybody, y'all done hit the download button on the Unleashed show, and I'm fixing to open up a big-ass can of audio whoop-ass just for you. But first, I got to give another LegalZoom shout-out. This is for Landon Lindsay down there in Uvalde, Texas. And it was actually Landon's friend, Sean, who used LegalZoom. And this is what Sean emailed the question to SteveAustinShow.com. He said, "Hey, Steve, I'm a struggling writer/director in Los Angeles who got the short end of the stick with my American High School feature. For my next feature, I used LegalZoom to make an LLC, and it was very easy and helpful. I'm grateful to LegalZoom because it honestly did help me. So if you could mention someone, can you please say hi to Landon Lindsay? Thank you." Hey, Landon, hello, you son of a bitch. I'm glad y'all used LegalZoom to help your asses out. All right, there you go. Little shout out to Landon. And all thanks to another happy LegalZoom client. Hey, folks, let LegalZoom make your life easier, too. They can help you start your business, get a trademark, or taking care of a will or a living trust. And LegalZoom will get the job done and get the job done right. So check out LegalZoom.com today. And don't forget to enter Austin in the referral box at checkout to get a special discount. That's my last name, in case you haven't heard. Austin, A-U-S-T-I-N. Use it so you can save even more money. LegalZoom provides legal help through independent attorneys and self-help services, but it is not a law firm.
The following program is a PodcastOne.com production. He started in a small town in Texas. Worked his ass off to become one of the most famous wrestlers of all time.
We're going to take care of business tonight, and that's the bottom line.
And now he's dominating the world of on-demand audio. And he's doing it for the working man.
This is a damn good outlet for me to spew the bullshit off my brain.
Yeah! This is the Steve Austin Show. Unleashed.
All right, everybody, welcome to Steve Austin Show. I'm coming to you from the crib today here at 316 Gimmel Street, Los Angeles, California. It is a glorious Wednesday. The sun is shining. There's a slight breeze. It's probably about 68 degrees. You couldn't ask for a better damn day to film a podcast. I'm sitting here in my office, 316 Gimmel Street, like a motherfucker, making money up in this bitch. Clock hand spinning around like a rotisserie chicken. I'm going to pull up the shades a little bit so I can enjoy that sunshine. I got Hershey the Wonder Dog sleeping like a baby over here beside me. She's going to be mad as a hornet tomorrow because tomorrow while y'all listen to this show, I'm going to be on an airplane headed down to the great state of Texas, South Texas, flying into San Antonio, jumping in a car and headed down to the Broken Skull Ranch where I'm going to spend about 3 or 4 days getting some work done, looking for some shed horns and them damn deer, getting some things done, and seeing old Teddy Fowler at Ted Fowler 361 on Twitter. We're probably going to sit down at the dinner table and record a podcast and drink a couple of IPAs while we're down there. And y'all been hearing me talk about all the trials and tribulations, about all the bullshit we've had going on down there at the Broken Skull Ranch, especially as it pertains to rats and mice and things that eat the wires on my Broncos, my Chevy trucks, my Polaris Rangers, my motorcycles, my four-wheelers, all my shit down there. Hell, I think they ate something off my pressure washer last time I was down there. Nothing is sacred to a motherfucking rat. They'll eat anything you got. So anyway, I've been talking about these rats so damn long. Y'all been sending me emails, and I've been getting a bunch of interesting emails. And Stacy, who puts a podcast together, sent me a very informative article I'm about to read to you. But hey, some of you people over there in the UK sent me some damn good articles about the rat. Hey, I thought we had rat problems at the Broken Skull Ranch, and we do. And I'm going to discuss those problems and a solution with Ted Fowler very soon. But I got some pictures from you people over there in the UK, the United Kingdom. Shout, a swig of water for the working man and working woman over in the UK. Man, y'all got some motherfucking rat problems. Y'all got some big-ass rats. If I was walking down the alley and I'd had a couple pints of Guinness and I was a little bit buzzed, and I always have my pocket knife right there on my side of my pocket. I got one right now. Pull out my pocket knife. Pocket knife for the working man. I tell you what, you need a pocket knife to fight off some of them fucking rats y'all got over there. I seen some rats over there. It looked like they weigh close to 40 pounds. A 40-pound rat, that's a big motherfucker. I don't care who you are. Y'all got some rats over there in the United Kingdom that I swear to God, if they got into the MMA, went over to the UFC and got into an octagon, I don't know if Cain Velasquez could beat one of these motherfuckers. And Cain Velasquez is one of the baddest bitches on the planet. Anyway, let's get back to the podcast here. Well, we never left it, actually, did we? We still here talking up in this motherfucker, making money up in this bitch. Here's some rat facts from Discover Magazine that Stacy sent me. Swig of water for Stacy over there at Podcast One. Here we go. The brown rat, also known as the Norway rat, and its more acrobatic Asian cousin, the black rat, enjoy a nearly worldwide distribution thanks to their skill at stowing away on ships. Now let's think about that for a minute. They stowing away on ships. That means they smart, they cunning, and they're con artists. Because I remember back in the day, I'd never been to a travel agency where I saw a rat standing in line looking to buy a ticket to get on a cruise ship or a boat to go to another country. So these motherfuckers are stowing away. So they smart. And it's funny, I wonder why the Asian cousin is more acrobatic than the Norway rat. Why is the black rat, the Asian cousin, more acrobatic? See, if rats worked, maybe that these Asian cousins, the black rat, would be good in the circus as performers, trapeze artists. Anyway, speculation. Going to the facts. Rats' front teeth grow 4.5 to 5.5 inches each year. Rats wear them down by continuously gnawing on everything around them, including cement, brick, wood, lead pipes, and other small animals. Basically, loosely paraphrased, that paragraph says rats will eat any motherfucking thing you throw at them. I think you could put a chunk of steel out there. If I had a steel anvil in the middle of my barn, I guarantee I could leave that sumbitch there and they'd probably chew that sumbitch to shit. They teeth grow 4.5 to 5.5 inches each year. Goddamn, if my teeth did that, I'd probably be eating a goddamn anvil too. So, I guess they got to do something to keep the teeth whittled down. But I'd just ask a favor of a rat if I could. Please. When you're trying to wear your teeth down because they grow in 4.5 to 5 inches each year, don't chew up the wires on my Broncos, my Chevys, my Polaris Rangers, my four-wheelers, and my motorcycles. It really pisses me off because people keep telling me, Steve, you need to get cats. Well, it's too fucking lonely out there for cats, and I can't vaccinate them and take care of them properly. So I don't want to put no cats out there. I don't like to use poison because if my dogs happen to eat one of the rats, and they would be poisoned. So I gotta find a way to do battle with these motherfuckers. But I can understand the dilemma because if you say, okay, maybe one of these rats has a conscience and he says, well, you know what? I listen to Steve podcast. It's cool. I can see why he's upset. We chewing up his wires on his Broncos. And then all of a sudden, this rat's got 5.5 inch teeth hanging out of his damn mouth. So that ain't going to be cool for him because he got to, I don't know if he could eat if he had a 5.5 inch teeth. So he got to keep those motherfuckers whittled down. Let's move on. Dig this. A female rat can mate as many as 500 times with various males during a 6-hour period of receptivity, a state she experiences about 15 times per year. Thus, a pair of brown rats can produce as many as 2,000 descendants in a year if left to breed unchecked. A rat matures sexually at age 3 to 4 months. 3 to 4 months, and an average rat's lifespan is about 2 to 3 years. So, a rat matures sexually at age 3 to 4 months, and then they just start fucking like a motherfucker. And a female rat can mate as many as 500 times with various males during a 6-hour period of receptivity. And that's a lot of goddamn fucking. I tell you what, I don't think I've ever left my Viagra or my Cialis bottle and rats have chewed into them and eaten my Viagra or my Cialis. But if they did, they might eat my entire motherfucking house up when they get done fucking. I don't know how they fuck so much, but 2,000 descendants if left unchecked. I got to get down there and do battle with these things before they just tear my ranch to living. They're killing me. They're killing me, folks. Dig this. A rat can tread water for 3 days and survive being flushed down the toilet, and it can return to the building via the same route. There's approximately 1 rat per person in the United States. Now let's think about that. A rat can tread water for 3 days. You got to respect that. That's a water-treading motherfucker right there. If you put me in a swimming pool and said, Steve, tread water for as long as you can. Well, I mean, if it all came down to it and I had to survive, I don't know how long it could last, but suffice to say, I don't know if I'd make 3 fucking days of treading. My big sorry ass floating in a damn pool of water. Now, if they said, Steve, tread water as long as you can, and we will give you an IPA beer every 2 hours, I might be able to last a motherfucking month. See, that's some motivation there. But anyway, you got to respect an animal that can tread water for 3 days. So shout out a little bit of respect. I ain't going to give you a swig of water for the treading rat. But fuck, that's a long time to tread water. Dig this one. According to a study by Martin Shine, the founder of Animal Behavior Society, the favorite foods of city-dwelling rats, the favorite foods of city-dwelling brown rats include scrambled eggs, macaroni and cheese, and cooked corn. See, that's a pretty good sign of intelligence because, I mean, scrambled eggs, that's good food. Macaroni and cheese, that's good food. And cooked corn, I mean, is that corn in a can, corn on a cob? What kind of corn is that is what I want to know. Popcorn? Motherfucking rats sitting in a movie theater eating boxes of popcorn. I don't even know what to say about that. Macaroni and cheese, scrambled eggs, and cooked. It ain't a bad diet. I don't think there's a whole lot of protein in that. Well, fancy I would say that. Dig this. Rats eat their own feces purely for the nutritional value. Well, if they're eating scrambled eggs, macaroni and cheese, and cooked corn, and they eat it once, and then they shit it out, and then they eat it again, I guess, they're eating the same thing twice with half the nutrients. That don't make no sense to me. But they've been around for a long time, and they ain't going nowhere, so I guess it's working for them. Now, I eat a lot of protein. I probably eat 300 grams of protein a day, but I'm not going to eat my own shit for the nutritional value. I'm going to go eat another chicken breast. So, in that regard, rats are stupid. Rats are some stupid motherfuckers for eating their shit. That's just dumb. That's played out nasty. Let's move on. Rats have poor eyesight and they're colorblind. Let me repeat that. Rats have poor eyesight and are colorblind. Well, the eyesight ain't too goddamn bad. They done found 2 of my Broncos, 3 of my trucks, 2 of my Polarises, 1 of my 4-wheelers, and my motorcycle. So I don't know if they're out there walking around with walking sticks or they got some seeing eye dogs or something, but they ain't having no problem finding none of my shit to chew up. The ones I got down at the Broken Skull Ranch can see like a motherfucker. Dig this. A rat can fall as far as 50 feet and land uninjured. A rat can fall as far as 50 feet and land uninjured. I was thinking about wrestling a rat, and I was going to broadcast that wrestling match on the podcast. Y'all remember back in the day, I wrestled a fly at the Chicago Rosemount Horizon. That fly beat me when Jimmy Superfly Snooker ran in and hit me in the head with a coconut. So, if I was going to wrestle a rat and we got into a big-ass high spot, 1 tackle, 2 drop downs, duck a clothesline, I'll give you a big backdrop. Well, I mean, if I'm giving a rat a backdrop, I figure I can probably only get him about 8 or 10 foot in the air. And so if a rat can fall as far as 50 feet and land uninjured, my 8 to 10 foot backdrop really is not going to be much in the form of offense against that rat. So anybody out there that's going to wrestle a rat, I don't know whether you guys out there on the Indie circuit, PWG, Ring of Honor, WWE, Global Force, TNA, if a rat hits the ring, don't backdrop that motherfucker because you're going to have to get it over the 50-foot mark. Only backdrop a rat if you can backdrop him over 51 feet, and then he will sell that backdrop. Because if you don't, you're going to expose the business. Let's move on. An adult rat can squeeze into your home through a hole as small as the size of a quarter. size of a quarter. Now, all they got to do is get their little nose and their ears up in that hole, and they're going to get the rest of their ass through there. Now, god damn, I tell you what, if I was going to tell you, hey, if I can get my head through about a foot opening, I can get the rest of my big ass through there. That ain't happening, folks. My big motherfucking ass. I need a doorway to walk through, and these motherfuckers can get into something the size of a quarter. Motherfuckers are bad. Dig this. Rats do not sweat. They regulate their temperature by constricting or expanding blood vessels in their tails. They don't sweat. You get a rat in a ring and you start wrestling that motherfucker, he won't sweat. But he's going to regulate his temperature by constricting or expanding the blood vessels in their tails, and that makes sense to me. Rats are known to transmit several potentially fatal diseases to humans, including viral hemorrhagic fever, plague, Weil's disease, and Q fever. Now, I don't know how I'm going to go one of these days when I meet my demise, but I don't want to go down to viral hemorrhagic fever, the plague, Weil's disease, or Q fever. These some dirty motherfuckers in my book. Dig this. Innie or outie. Rats don't have gallbladders or tonsils, but they do have belly buttons. Well, that's a fucking random fact. That don't help me out at all. In 2006, it was revealed that a team of scientists at Tel Aviv University in Israel had created a brain chip out of rat neurons. I don't know why the fuck they did that, but they did that. Here's the last fact about a rat, and then we're going to move on with the podcast. Ancient Romans considered the rat to be good luck, and in China, the rat is considered a sign of prosperity. God damn. I guess them motherfuckers in China would want, if they was into the Star Trek, they would give the old rat the split V signal with the hand and say, live long and prosper. Well, they're not going to live long and prosper down at the Broken Skull Ranch because I got a team of scientists. Well, actually, it ain't a team of scientists. It's me and one man named Ted Fowler. And we're going to put our heads together and come up with a way to try to beat the rats down there at the Broken Skull Ranch. We got our work cut out for us. I said I was going to build a 3-foot electric fence. Well, also, and some other facts that I read, the rat can jump over 3 feet high. So they don't need to pole vault over the fence. They can jump over that fence, and they can jump 4 to 5 feet sideways. So I'm going to have to build a taller fence. And then I got to put a cage over the top of it because I figure the roof of my barn is probably 30 feet high. So if there's a rat crawling along a post up there and he just jumps off on one of my vehicles, he's probably only going to fall by the time he hits the roof of the vehicle no more than 30 feet. The rat can fall more than 50 feet before he gets hurt. So I might have to put a damn roof over this cage structure I'm talking about building for these motherfuckers. It's going to take some brain work, but by hook or by crook, I'm damn sure, maybe I ought to put out some little, y'all people out there in the wildlife industry know that I'm talking about, put some mineral blocks out there. Maybe I ought to put some mineral blocks out there for these rats to gnaw their teeth on, strategically located around the ranch. So, they ain't got to worry about their teeth growing about 4.5, 5 inches. Maybe I'll just put one of those little mineral blocks by each set of tires because I figure they're jumping up on my tires, crawling up into my engine block, getting on my motor, and that's how they eat all those wires. So maybe I shouldn't even have said nothing. I should have kept that kayfabe. I should have patented that fucking idea. Come up with a way for the rat, you know what, and make a little gym. I'll make a little gym for those motherfuckers. Put some weights out there, get them in shape, and give them something to do. Because I think not only are they trying to keep their teeth gnawed down, but they're bored. Maybe I won't build an electric fence for them. Maybe I'll build a little bitty barn by my big barn and build them a playground so they can go out there and have fun and entertain themselves when they ain't fucking. Because that's all they'd seem to do, according to this article, is fuck 500 times a day. And these sumbitches, I'll tell you what, when you go out there, I got one barn that's away from the other barn, and I got so many rats in there, and they shit like a crippled goose everywhere. I don't know what these rats are eating, because they're not eating macaroni and cheese and corn and shit out there at my ranch. But these motherfuckers got a CGF of 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. They shit like a crippled goose. I don't know whether to shit or wind my watch. And they say that if you inhale some of those fumes when you're sweeping all that shit up, and you inhale those vapors or that dust in your lungs, you can die from that. Or if a rat pisses on a beer can or something like that, and you don't wipe that piss off, you can die from that too. Or it can make you very, very sick. I tell you what, the Broken Skull Ranches, I mean, we got mountain lions, we got bobcats, we got wild hogs, we got everything out there. Last thing I thought I was going to do was lose my life to a motherfucking rat or breathing one of their fumes in. Anyway, hey man, let me stop flapping my gums. I got a good guest today. I'm talking to Jimmy Korderas, longtime referee of WWE. He worked for the WWE for over 22 years. Now, how I conducted this interview, I was sitting here right where I'm sitting today. I got my Skype system hooked back up, back on my recorder. I think the quality of the recording is pretty damn good. But I wore my little iPhone headset, and I was talking to Stacy the other day. I said, well, how did that podcast turn out where I used my Skype system and my recorder? She said the quality was good, but you're breathing too loud. So when y'all listen to my interview with Jimmy Korderas and you hear my loud ass breathing too loud, I know I'm already correcting the problem. I'm going to wrap a piece of duct tape around my microphone or something so it don't sound like I'm breathing heavy and doing some kind of stupid shit over here while my guest is talking. So save your emails. If you got a question, a comment, or suggestion, send it to questions@steveaustinshow.com. But don't tell me that I'm breathing too loud during the Jimmy Korderas interview, because I'm telling you right now, when he's giving his answers, you'll hear me over here huffing and puffing through my goddamn broke-ass crippled nose with the deviated septums. Swig of water for the Breathing Hard podcast, man. Making money up in this motherfucker today. Hey, but before we get in this show, y'all been hearing me thank my sponsors. I appreciate all my sponsors. They help me keep doing what I do, opening up 2 cans of audio whoop ass for y'all's ass free. Motherfuckers like yourself going to and from work in your cars, your trucks, your motorcycles, your mopeds, whatever the fuck you getting to work on your 2 feet, riding a bus, a train, going back home after work, or sitting there at your computer doing your job. Hey, man, I got some good-ass sponsors. I ain't asking you to buy a damn thing from them, but I am asking you, hey, check these motherfuckers out. If you dig anything, see if you can use some of their products. And I've made it really easy for y'all to find all of them. If you just go to podcast1.com and click on the Keep Our Podcast Free banner at the top of the page and click on the motherfucking Steve Austin Show. Don't click nowhere else, and access all of my sponsors. And you can even get to my Amazon link from there too. And even better, you can link to Amazon UK. I got such a big-ass crowd coming from the UK. I appreciate all you motherfuckers listening over there. Swig of Guinness for the working man and the woman, and Amazon Canada over there. Sip of Molson Golden over there for the Canadians over there using the Amazon link or whatever. I used to drink Coke and E back when I used to travel up the highways and byways with badass Billy Gunn and Bart, the Smoking Guns. And so I was drinking Coke and E back in the day. So whatever the fuck y'all drinking over in Canada, appreciate the support of the show. So go to podcast1.com, click on the Keep Our Podcast Free banner at the top of the page. Show my sponsors a little bit of love. And again, thank you for supporting the show. And my sponsors, dig this shit, whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying. So anyway, Jimmy Korderas coming right out. But first, check this out. I just want some cash playing fantasy baseball at DraftKings.com. And I ain't the only one. I'm hearing from a bunch of you guys about the money you're winning playing America's favorite one-day fantasy baseball site. Somebody turned $11 into $4,000. Another player won $100,000 his first time ever playing. And you don't want to miss out on the money, people. And DraftKings.com is so easy. Ain't no season-long commitments either. You ain't stuck with the same lineup. It's just instant cash every single day. And right now, you can play for free. FREE. That's one of my favorite F words, to win real cash. Enter Steve today at DraftKings.com and get free entry into a huge contest happening this Friday. That's over $400,000 in cash prizes. It's this Friday, and free spots are going quick. So enter Steve now at DraftKings.com. That's Steve at DraftKings.com.
Hey guys, I'm Paul Shirley. I used to play in the NBA.
And I'm Justin Halpern, creator of My Dad Says.
We talk about the NBA in ways that people don't usually talk about the NBA.
Yeah, we don't ask the same dumb questions, and this week we have Pau Gasol on, and we definitely don't ask him the same dumb questions everybody else does.
At least we hope not. So come judge us. Everyone likes to judge. Judge our ability to talk to Pau Gasol.
Yeah, and come listen to our NBA podcast. I bet you like it.
Short Corner with actual NBA journeyman Paul Shirley and Fox TV writer Justin Halpern. Download it now at podcastone.com. Steve Austin Unleashed.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Steve Austin Show. Here we go, talking to longtime WWE referee Jimmy Korderas. Jimmy, welcome to the show. What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on over there?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, and we finally thawed out up here in Canada, so things are starting to turn green, which is pretty awesome.
Hey, man, it's been a long time since I've seen you. When was the last time you and me saw each other, man? Because it's been a while.
It had to be at least, I'm trying to think, but I'm assuming it was the Hall of Fame at WrestleMania Weekend 24. That's how long ago I think it was.
Yeah, we just had WrestleMania 30. Did you get a chance to catch the event?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I don't miss it. This is the first year in about 3 years that I haven't gone down to see it live as part of the media entourage.
Okay, so why did you make it down to this year's WrestleMania?
It was just a scheduling thing with the people I work with up here in Canada. I wasn't able to work it out, so I did what I normally do. If I can't make it down to an event, I just catch it on pay-per-view. We don't get the network up here in Canada yet.
Y'all don't have the WWE network in Canada yet?
Not yet. From what I've heard, it's either going to make its way up here probably end of 2014, maybe early 2015 at the latest. But as of right now, it's only a U.S. thing from what I hear.
Hey, man, so what was your favorite match on the card for WrestleMania 30?
I really enjoyed Triple H and Daniel Bryan that kicked off the show. I mean, it set a perfect tone, I thought, and those guys were fantastic. I mean, a bit of an old school feel, but still keeping it somewhat new school, I guess, trying to, a combination of both. I really enjoyed that. A lot of people weren't big on the Taker-Brock match, but I liked it because I thought the storytelling throughout the entire match was phenomenal, and at times I think that's a bit of a lost art these days.
Well, I knew as far as in regards to my favorite match, I said, the Triple H Daniel Bryan match was the best match on the card. I love the story they told. I love both guys' work. It's very credible. You can't see through any of it. And when you go to the Undertaker Brock Lesnar match, again, two very physical guys, you can't see through their work either. The finish really caught me off guard in that match. Were you surprised that the streak was broken at WrestleMania 30 with the Undertaker going 21-1?
Yes, I was. I was very surprised, and it's funny because just watching the match, and after the two F5s and Taker kicking out of the second one, I my mind was starting to work. I said, do they go for a third one? And if they do, how does he kick out of a third one? I don't know if that actually, psychology-wise would make sense. And then when he hit the third one, I gasped. I literally gasped, like, oh my God, is this it? And then when Chad counted three, I looked like the dude at ringside. I was like, what?
I did the same thing. I was trying to leave the building because I didn't want to get caught up in traffic. But that was a match that I was not going to miss. So I was right there by the production truck. I got in Kevin Dunn's cooler. I grabbed a couple of Bud Lights, and I was in there. I watched that match in the production truck. And I was listening to Kevin call the match, as far as the camera angles that they were going to. And all of a sudden, watched the whole thing, the one F5, two F5. Then finally, that third F5 just kind of came out of nowhere. 1, 2, 3. And I did the same thing you did. I was like, are you kidding me? The streak has been broken. Because in the previous shows, I love Brock Lesnar to death. He's a very good friend of mine. Of course, I love Taker as well. He's contributed so much to the business with an outstanding career. I wanted to see the streak remain intact. So I was shocked.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. On a personal level, I did want to see the streak stay intact. If there's one thing in this business that we could leave unscathed, I thought that would be it. And if anybody deserved it, The dead man definitely did. But I guess, true to form, the dead man does business the right way,
Well, let me ask you a question, because you were with WWE for over 22 years. Now, before that, you were refereeing how long?
Before the WWE?
Yeah.
Not a lick. I learned basically, to make a long story short, I basically learned it was on-the-job training when I started working for WWF at the time, Jack Tunney up here in Canada.
Okay, so that's where I was reading that, at the Maple Leaf Gardens?
Yeah, well, my first match was just north of Toronto in Newmarket, Ontario, where I had my first actual refereeing foray. And the weird part about it was, to get into how it happened, it was actually Pat Patterson who suggested it to Jack, because I was working on the ring crew at the time. And Pat, and I'm not going to try and do Pat's accent, we all know what Pat sounds like. But he said to Jack, he says, we got the kid here. He sets up the ring, and then he's like hanging around waiting for everything to end so he could tear it down and drive away. He says, why don't we use him? Why don't we make him a referee? And Jack turns to Pat and says, well, I don't know if we should smarten him up.
So you weren't smart to the business yet?
Yes and no. I mean, like, I had been in the
locker room. You weren't officially smartened up yet.
Yeah, yes, exactly. I had inklings about how things work, but obviously not even scratch the surface. But
right.
But Jack said, I don't know if we want to smarten him up. And Pat's like, but he's in the locker room with the boys. He kind of knows what's going on. We'll teach him, And Jack's like, I don't know. And then Pat says to me, he says, go out and get some black sneakers, black pants, a powder blue shirt, and a black bow tie, and carry it with you.
Who was the first match you refereed?
S.D. Jones versus the Red Demon, who was Jose Luis Rivera under a hood.
Special Delivery Jones.
Yeah.
That's a name I have not heard in a long time. Okay, but before we go back to you starting on the business, now when you're watching a match, let's talk about WrestleMania 30 again. When you're watching a match, obviously you come from all the same experience that I come, from being a former guy in the ring. You're a former guy in the ring. That referee plays such an important part. Are you watching? What are you watching when you see a match? Are you watching more of the referee's work? Where if they're in the right position, are you digging the boys doing the storyline, or are you taking it all in?
I try to take it all in, and like you said, being a former ref, you tend to kind of lean a little bit and take a gander and see what they're doing, because even when I was working and you get to watch matches back and stuff like that, I was my own worst critic. I mean, I couldn't believe so. I'd look at a match that I'd work and I'd say, why was I standing there? Why did I do this? Why did I move like that? What the heck was I thinking there?
So you would pick apart. I mean, it'd be like me watching one of my matches, say, God dang, I should have done this better or that better. You're looking at your positioning and all your technique.
Yeah, and even a little thing like if I pass the time cue to somebody, I say, "Oh man, that was obvious." That's just the way I was. I just never happy with. I always wanted to. It sounds cliche, but I always wanted to strive to do as good as I can, to be the best, and not to get the accolades for that, but just to be a guy that the boys can trust and don't have to worry. One less thing for the guys in the ring to worry about is the referee going to be there? Is he going to be in the right position? I didn't want him to worry about that.
Well, I always wanted the referee to be in the right position, and I always liked a good solid 3 count. You always had a great 3 count. I like when the refs counted the count as they slapped the mat, and for the timing on my kickouts, because when you're going deep into that match and you want to kick out at 2 7/8, and you can't leave that referee hanging, and so there's a lot of trust there. And you know what I'm saying, because if you hit a 3 count, you hit a 3 count.
Right, and that all goes to positioning too, because as much as you're trying to time your count, the referee's job is to get into a position where the guy on the bottom, the talent on the bottom, has to be able to be aware to hopefully hear and see you.
Yep.
So he can time his if you want to make it that 2 7/8 and that really close, not today.
Right.
You should be somewhere where he can see you, because if you're around the other end and you're counting at his ass, I mean, now it's guesswork. He has to kind of guess when your hand's coming down for 3.
Hey, man, let's talk about those time cues, because back in the day, with the advent of the new technology, the guys are wearing earbuds, and, referees are getting time cues through their ears. But back in the day, y'all were getting time cues via, just looking over at the corner at the timekeeper.
Yep.
And they were using certain hand signals when it was time to go how'd how'd that all work? How'd that all break down or work out for you guys?
It's like anything else. You get used to it. They would hold up one finger for 5 minutes, and then if it was 7, they'd hold up 1, then a 2 afterwards, and we'd get our time cues that way. And then for TV, they would count us down the other way. How much time left in the match. And when they wanted you to go home, the timekeeper would put a pen or a pencil in his mouth and stand up, so you could see him. Yeah. Which brings me to a little story from WrestleMania 4, because we didn't have the earbuds at that time yet.
Yeah.
So everything was off time cues from the timekeeper, and the match between Jake Roberts and Rick Rude. I was refereeing that match, and it was supposed to go 15-minute Broadway.
And a Broadway is what, to my fans who don't understand what a Broadway is, Jim?
The time limit for the match was 15 minutes, and it was supposed to end at a time limit draw.
Time limit draw is what a Broadway is.
Yes, and so I'm excited. It's WrestleMania, and my heart's pounding. I'm, in the moment, and the match is going on, and I totally brain fart and stop looking at the timekeeper for cues.
Yeah.
And Rick and Jake Roberts are looking at me for cues, and I'm not cluing in because I'm like, I don't know, I don't know what I was thinking.
Just you like you said, brain fart.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden I look over at the timekeeper out of the corner of my eye, and he's standing up, and he's practically bit the pencil in half, trying to get my attention, and I'm not putting the heat on the cameraman, but he was kind of there.
Yeah.
In a way. So, but no, that was me, and I went, "Oh, geez, okay, guys, go home," and that was it.
So, was it actually a 16-minute Broadway?
Probably 16 and a half.
Hey, what's the worst thing you've screwed up as a referee in the ring? Or some of the funniest things you've done or seen? Because here's one. Right before I left WWE a couple of years back, you guys had the earbuds, and we would do a thing during the warm-up matches. It was you and me and Jack and Chad, the other referees, and we'd be out there, and there's a microphone back there at gorilla position, and that's the microphone that talks to the earbuds of the referees.
Yeah.
And we would back there, I don't know if it'd be Jack or Chad in the ring, and say, "Okay, do a cartwheel." And the referee, the boys are out there working in the ring, and all of a sudden the referee, and you've done this too, does a cartwheel or we'll say, "Okay, do a forward roll."
Yeah, but here, the funny part was it started off as, I don't know who started it. I think you might have had a hand in this. But all of a sudden you hear your unmistakable voice telling you to do a jumping jack or a cartwheel. And there's two guys in the ring at a dark match trying to, basically auditioning for a job. And this referee's in the background doing a cartwheel, and you can just see the look on their face, like, "What's going on? Why is this happening?"
It was absolutely ridiculous. Hey, for a talent, I remember for myself, as far as putting the mechanics together for me, the business, I wasn't really a quick learner. I was aggressive in the ring, but finally things started coming to me, and I picked everything up. How long did it really take you when Pat said, "Okay, let's smarten the kid up and use him"? So how long did it take you to put your style together and really to learn all the rules? Because here's the funny thing, Jimmy. A couple times they call me out of the blue. They say, "Hey, Steve, I want you to be the special referee for this match or whatever." And as a wrestler, I never really paid attention to the rules until a referee, like on a 5 count on choking or, punching in the corner or something like that. But technically, from a referee's standpoint, I don't know the rules. So I would be out there refereeing these matches. Of course, I'm out of position. I don't want to get in the way of a high spot and get, trampled by one of the guys and screw their shit up. So how long did it take you to put all the pieces together? Because, I think for me, being a referee was extremely tough because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Long-winded question. How long did it take you to get your shit together as a referee?
To put it in years, a long, long time, and even up until the time I left WWE, I was always trying to learn and evolve and make it make sense. When I first started, it was basically, okay, just don't screw up the finish and hopefully you get through this. And then as time goes on, you start, I would watch guys like Earl and Timmy White and back in the day, Tommy Young and those guys.
Yeah.
And I start picking out, it's almost like a wrestler who would see a move that is done somewhere in Japan or Europe and say, hey, you know what? Nobody does that in North America. I'm going to try that. Unfortunately, all the referees here, everybody sobbed, and I stole a little bit of everybody's stuff, So I kind of adopted a lot of different styles, and it took me, honestly, 10 years before I felt comfortable with saying that I had an idea of what I was doing in the ring and not being a hindrance.
Hey, but talk to me a little bit about just body language and the pantomiming, because, you're there with us in the ring. And, man, when I throw back a big right hand, I'm coming from way back. It's a big-ass right hand. It's always funny when you watch people who come from an MMA background or a boxing background who throw these quick, crisp, fighting technical punches that don't really read for the people way in the back. So I always threw a big right hand, and I was always playing to that last, row of cheap seats. And, the people up close are getting what they're getting. My point is to you, when you're counting out that count, and I'm sitting here waving my hands in the air like I'm counting, like who worked with you one-on-one? Because all of a sudden Pat Patterson says, let's smarten this kid up. So who was the guy that was really working with you, or who did you go to critique your work?
I asked everybody, anybody who would actually field any questions that I would obviously right